welcome back, welcome to my channel. My name is Ren and I make videos a couple of times a week about books and fandom things. If you've been on my channel for a while, you will know that in 2019, I think it was 2019, end of 2018, I broke my tripod and haven't had one since. I've literally been using books as a tripod, so I've been limited to where I can film my videos. But I got a tripod again, didn't I? And he bloody went and bought one. And it actually has a ring light attached to it, which you can see in my glasses. Now, I need my glasses to see. Is it going to bother people if they can see the refraction of my ring light in my glasses? Because I feel like it will annoy, I don't know, maybe if I like keep my head down and just talk like this. Anyway, hi, I have a Starbucks. I got some books because it was my birthday recently, and in the same month of it being my birthday, which was April, bookshops reopened, which was dangerous because I keep buying books. But I also had some lovely books for my birthday from friends and family, so I have some books and I want to talk about them with you all. We're starting off with a book that my brother and sister-in-law got me for my birthday, which is What I Lost by Alexandra Ballard. This book I'm currently reading, as you can see by my bookmark, and this focuses on 16-year-old Elizabeth, who has just been admitted into a eating disorder treatment facility because she has anorexia. Like I said, I am currently reading this. I am 136 pages into it. So far, I think it is absolutely phenomenal. It really goes into the very raw and specific and detailed parts of having an eating disorder, but also eating disorder recovery. Like, even it talks about things like lanugo, which is hair that some people with eating disorders can grow. It's like really fine hair. It talks about like heart conditions and osteoporosis and different aspects of having an eating disorder, which a lot of people do not go into. People talk a lot about, you know, people kind of think eating disorder just means that you're thin and don't eat, which actually is not all there is to having an eating disorder. There are so many different elements to it. There are so many different elements to it. There is so much that people do not talk about, which is so important to talk about, and this book is doing that phenomenally. Being in Elizabeth's head is also really interesting, with looking at her different reactions to recovery and the people that are around her, and also her family and influence and kind of what her life was like before. I haven't finished it yet, obviously, but I'm really enjoying it so far. I think it is such a phenomenally well done book and a really good exploration and really real and raw. I'm really enjoying it, and based on reviews online and what other people have said, this book is phenomenal and a really good representation of struggling with an eating disorder. So I'm excited to finish it because I am genuinely really enjoying it. I'm enjoying all the characters and also getting to know them and getting to know Elizabeth. So yes. The other book that my brother and sister-in-law got me is Quiet Girl in a Noisy World, an Introvert's Story by Debbie Tung, and this is kind of graphic novel format of being an introvert in a world and being surrounded by extroverts. This was on my wish list for a really long time, so I'm really excited to get to it because it seems really nice and I really like the drawing style. What are you doing? Just taking a photo with my best friends. Mood. Then the third book that my brother and sister-in-law got me is actually on this shelf because Arian Dante now has its own shelf. It was about time. I'm surprised it took me this long, if I'm honest. Should have a long time ago. But now with the sequel coming out, because there's going to be a sequel. If you didn't see my video all about the Arian Dante sequel, Aristotle and Dante Dive into the Waters of the World, I will link my video on that down below. It comes out on October 12th. I'm very excited. This is Arian Dante in French. Now, for those that may be new here and have just stumbled upon upon and across in the same sentence, and I didn't. I've just stumbled upon my video. Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe is my favourite book that ever has existed. Ever. It's phenomenal. Ice cream van. I'm filming. It's rude, isn't it? This is on 15-year-old Aristotle Mendoza, and he lives in El Paso in Texas, and one summer's day he goes swimming, and at the pool he meets Dante Quintana, and Dante offers to teach Ari how to swim, and they are complete opposites, but a bond is formed at that moment, and it focuses on that summer and then the bits of the year and then the next summer, and it is their friendship and family and relationship and struggles and growing up and realizing things about yourself and understanding that and dealing with that. It's genuinely phenomenal. If you couldn't tell by the shelf, I don't know if you can see, I collect copies of Ari and Dante. I have a Spanish edition and I have my first edition, I have my regular edition, I have an edition that I draw all over and annotate. I have my signed edition, and I have a Spanish edition, and I have my French edition. And the goal is that I want to be able to read them in these languages. I am currently learning Spanish and taking classes, and French is something which I'm quite okay. I do need to brush up before I can read the whole thing. My sister-in-law said it came, and she was like, have I ordered the right one, because this is in French. But yeah, so my boys, I can't wait for the sequel. Then my friend Gabby, who also has a booktube channel, got me The Babysitter's Coven by Kate Williams, which I'm super excited to read. Genuinely sounds so fun. I mean, I love anything witchy. And this focuses on 17-year-old Esme, who runs a babysitter's club because she likes babysitting, she's good at it. She also needs some money, so she's trying to get as much money as she possibly can. And then Cassandra comes into the picture and wants to join the babysitter's club. And Esme is like, why do you want to join? Like, you're really cool and popular. Why do you want to join and like change babies' nappies, essentially, is Esme's reasoning. It turns out Cassandra's mum, who has recently passed away, left her a note that says, literally on the back it says, "Dear Cassandra, find the babysitters, love, mum." Cassandra and Esme find out they're a lot more connected than we originally thought, and it is everything from there. Very excited to read this one. I mean, the aesthetic of this book is worth it alone. I didn't see what it looked like naked. Look at it naked. Oh, phenomenal. And speaking of friends, my friend Lily from Lily L Reads, I will link her channel below as well, got me Get a Life Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, and this focuses on Chloe, who has fibromyalgia and is chronically ill, and I have fibromyalgia. So, you know, twins. There's not many books that talk about fibro, and fibro in itself is something which isn't widely understood. People are like, oh, it's just chronic pain, and it's like, yeah, every moment of my life, to the point where I now use a walking stick. And it also attacks other parts of your body. Your brain essentially sends the wrong signals around your body, and it's really quite shit. And the thing I like about this book is that it mentions things that no one ever talks about, like the fact that having fibro means that your body struggles to maintain homeostasis. No one talks about the way that your body does that and the ways that it messes with your body, and this does that really well. I had it on my Kindle, I had it on audiobook, and I'm so excited to have a physical copy. Chloe designs a thing to get a life after almost dying, because she thinks about the way that her illness has impacted her life and kind of put so much on hold, and there's lots of things that she wants to do now. She moves out and meets Reg, who is like the landlord's kind of like, not assistant, but like kind of thing, and it's everything from there. He's going to help her get a life. It's really good, really good, very smutty. As a heads up, it's very, very, very smutty, so just so you're aware, because I know that's not for everyone. Now we have some books that I bought myself, because you've got to buy yourself books every once in a while. So I got Excuse Me While I Ugly Cry by Joya Goffney. I have a friend that works in Waterstones. I met her when I used to work in Waterstones, and I went in there the other day and she recommended me this one. And I don't know much about it other than the back says, "My journal is like my foundation. It doesn't tell me where I'm going. It tells me where I've been. I don't know who I am without it." Quinn Jackson is black, 18, vegetarian, a chronic list maker, crushing on Carter Bennett, socially awkward, living a lie, lost without her journal, being blackmailed and about to face her truth. Which, you know, I'm very excited about, and it's one of the hotkey books ones. So it says, what's in it? Secrets, blackmail, courage, romance. Haven't read a good romance in a while, so I'm really, really buzzed for this one. I also got the physical copy of Kate in Waiting by my long-standing fave, Becky Albertalli. I also got this by Becky Albertalli, which I bought on the same day, which I forgot, which is the Love Creek Quiz. This is just the little paperback version of the bind-up ebooks that she did, which is just like a little like emails from like Simon, Blue and Abby and Leah. But I also got Katie in Waiting, which is her most recent novel. It focuses on best friends Kate and Anderson, and they just do everything together. They are best friends and it's absolutely wonderful, and they have a shared crush on this guy, but it's a long distance crush. It's not really going to amount to anything, but when said long distance crush shows up at their school, things start to get a little bit worse. So it is that story. I gave this book 4 stars. I love the way Becky Albertalli writes books, and I love the whole layout of this. Like, it's like overture and like scene, the chapters are scenes. Really loved it. And yeah, then I got The Unlikely Escape of Uriah Heep by H.G. Parry, and this focuses on Uriah, and he has the power to bring fictional characters to life and bring them out of books, which, you know, sounds pretty cool, but in this the characters start to get a little bit out of hand, and he has to try and figure out how to stop the chaos that has ensued. Hadn't heard of this book before, saw it in Waterstones when I was browsing, thought it sounded really cool, and thought I'd get it and pick it up. I mean, I'd love to be able to bring some of my favourite characters to life. Like, can you imagine if I could just bring characters out of books, like Annabeth? If I could just bring Annabeth, I'd just like go for coffee with Annabeth. And we'd have a great time. She could like teach me how to fight and teach me how to just be phenomenal. What fictional characters would you bring to life if you could? I would love to know, because genuinely, like, what a party that would be. What a phenomenal party that would be. Magnus Bane, Percy, Nico, Leo Valdez. Are we counting comic books? Because if it's comic books, then technically I could bring Tony Stark. I mean, I'm just gonna, get ahead of myself. Anyway, this sounds really cool. I'm really excited to read it. So yeah, hopefully this will be one that I will get to quite soon. I'm glad I stumbled across it on my browse of the sci-fi fantasy section of Waterstone. Then I got Cinderella Is Dead by Kaylin Bayron, and genuinely don't know much about this book other than the fact that apparently it's really gay, which, you know, is absolutely phenomenal. It says it's 200 years since Cinderella found her prince, but the fairy tale is over. Sophia knows the story though off by heart, because every girl has to recite it daily from when she's tiny until the night she's sent to the royal ball for choosing, and every girl knows that she only has one chance. For the lives of those not chosen by a man at the ball are forfeit. But Sophia doesn't want to be chosen. She doesn't want to go to the ball at all, not when she's afraid the girl she loves might be chosen too. Pushed beyond breaking by a society that denies everything that she is, Sophia sets out on a journey that will remake her world into one where she gets to choose. I'm going to be buddy reading this with a friend, and genuinely it was sold to me on the premise of just it's really gay, which, you know, I'm here for. So super excited by this. It sounds like a really interesting retelling and a really interesting kind of take on that story, rather than like a direct Cinderella retelling. It's kind of taking that and making it into something quite refreshing, so I'm really looking forward to it. I then got The Sad Ghost Club by Lizzie Meddings. Mood. And this is a graphic novel. I actually read this on the morning of my birthday. It was a present, and I just sat and read the whole thing with my cup of tea, my breakfast tea. It's like finding your kindred spirits and knowing that you're not alone with how you feel, and the other people in the book just look like people, you know, they just kind of look like people, but then your kindred spirits look like the ghosts, and it's kind of symbolic of that mental health and kind of feeling like you are alone and you're the only one that feels certain things, but you're not alone, and it's just really lovely. And there was one of the things I sent it to me and my friend Emily. It was like, this is us, we are each other's kindred spirits. So I really loved this. I thought it was really sweet and just a nice little graphic novel about knowing that you're not alone, and there are people like you, and there are people that have a similar mentality and mindset to you. So I really liked this one. I then got House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski, and this is a massive, like, it looks like a textbook. As you can see, I've started reading this one too, there's a bookmark in it. This was an investment. This was 28 of the British pounds, which is a lot of money. It's a lot of money for one solitary book, but it is huge, and I am like 20 pages in. Yeah, I'm like 20 odd pages in, and I mean, I think the best way to kind of describe it is to read it to you. So Johnny Truant, wild and troubled sometime employee in an LA tattoo parlor, finds a notebook kept by San Piano, a reclusive old man found dead in a cluttered apartment. Herein is the heavily annotated story of the Navidson record. Will Navidson, a photojournalist, and his family move into a new house. What happens next is recorded on videotapes and interview. Now the Navidsons are household names. Piano, writing on loose sheets, stained napkins, crammed notebooks, has compiled what must be the definitive work on the events of Ash Tree Lane. But Johnny Truant has never heard of the Navidson record, nor has anyone else he knows, and the more he reads about Will Navidson's house, the more frightened he becomes. Paranoia besieges him. The worst part is that he just can't dismiss the notebooks as the rambling of a crazy old man. He's starting to notice things changing around him. And it says immensely imaginative, impossible to put down, impossible to forget. So I love horror. I am a huge horror fan. I love horror movies, I love horror shows. The only thing I don't love is like in-person stuff. So like scare mazes freak me out because I hate being made jump. Like even horror films that make me jump do set me off in the sense that they make me jump, and I hate the feeling of being made jump. But actual creepy stuff I really love, like anything supernatural, I'm all over it. Like, we love the creepiness, we love a spook, we love a ghost. So I read a lot of horror books, and it takes a lot to genuinely freak me out to the point where I feel uncomfortable and don't want to sleep. I'm like 25 pages ish into this book. I started reading it when I was in the hospital for pre-op recently, and I was like, I need to put this down because it's actually creeping me out. It was making me feel claustrophobic. It was making me feel paranoid. So this is going to be one that I take some time in reading because it genuinely creeped me out, and that doesn't happen. That does not happen, not often. So I'm buzzed. I feel like it's worth the money because it's doing its job. It's freaking me out. So I am excited to read more, but we're gonna take it slow because apparently I'm freaked the fuck out about it. So there you go. I also got On Writing by Stephen King. This is kind of memoir and a masterclass kind of how to write, and as much as, you know, I love Stephen King and I'm really getting into reading more Stephen King videos, I recently did my Stephen King 2021 TBR video, which I'll link down below, and I'm reading more of his stuff, and whilst there are bits in his books I'm like, Stephen, was that necessary? No. He is a phenomenal writer, and the way that he can craft and tell a story is absolutely incredible. So I'm really looking forward to reading On Writing. I've wanted to get it for a while. This is the 20th anniversary edition with contributions from Joe Hill and Owen King, who are his sons. And I'm so excited to read this and read about kind of his kind of journey of how he tells his stories and from him himself. So I'm really excited for this one. Then I got What's the Tea by Juno Dawson. So I actually have this book is gay on a shelf somewhere on my Pride shelves, which also is by Juno Dawson, which I got years ago, which I loved. So when I saw this in Waterstones recently, I knew I had to get it, and I really liked the back as well because it says your no-nonsense guide to all things trans and or non-binary, and I love that non-binary is being included. I don't know why you picked up this book. Maybe it was on a nice Pride display, maybe you have a trans friend or family member, or maybe you have some questions about your gender. It says navigating the maze of rumours about transgender people can be bewildering, but never fear, best-selling YA author and former PSHE teacher Juno Dawson is here to serve up a delicious cup of jargon-free, myth-busting tea. That's truth, in case you were wondering. From identity and expression to coming out and dating, Juno will guide you through the modern transgender experience. This frank and funny handbook will help you live your best life true to who you are, which I'm really looking forward to. And it says featuring laugh out loud illustrations from gender non-conforming illustrator Sophia and contributions from trans and or non-binary trailblazers including Travis Alabanza and Charlie Craigs. This is a book created by and for the transgender community and their allies, because it's about time we were spoken to, not just spoken about. I really liked that it's all own voices, it's all written by people and illustrated by people who have had these experiences and have dealt with these things and are giving that advice to other people and letting other people explore that in a way that they didn't have, which I just think is really good. So I'm so excited to read this. Like I said, obviously it's non-fiction, so I'm really looking forward to kind of, I'll go in and out of it, which is great. I then got Felix Ever After, oh my god, I got so excited I couldn't even speak, by Case and Calendar. I have been waiting for the physical copies of this book to come into UK bookstores for such a long time. I'm going to be buddy reading this with a friend of mine because I finally have a copy. Look at the pages. Look at it. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I have been so excited to read this book for the longest time. Saw it in there the other day and just was like, mine now please. And this focuses on Felix, who is black, queer and transgender, and is trying to kind of deal with all of those things and everything that comes with being all of those things, and is also now trying to figure out that like he's never been in love, and why he's never been in love, and trying to get those experiences, and he worries that because of his identity he won't get that happily ever after that everyone talks about. Then someone starts sending him anonymous transphobic posts and using his dead name alongside images of Felix before he transitioned. Felix comes up with an idea for revenge, but it ends up putting him in this kind of little weird love triangle that he was not expecting. So it is everything from there. I've heard nothing but good things about this book, absolutely nothing, and from what I believe it is also own voices, which we absolutely love. So I'm so excited to finally read this, and yeah. Now, you will all be very pleased to know that the other day I purchased my first ever Alice Osman book. Thank you. After years of people shouting at me to buy Alice Osman's books, I bought Loveless, which I'm so excited about, and it focuses on Georgia, who has never kissed anybody. She like loves fanfic and romantic stories, and she thinks that she'll find that herself one day, but she's at university and starts to kind of try and figure out those things, but then hears the words aromantic and asexual, and trying to figure out what that means to her and who she is. And I really love that this is a book which is set at university, because I feel like exploration and discovering who you are stories are always set as teenagers, which is really, really valid, but I really like that there are some sort of later in life and at university, because those are times when you do experience a lot about yourself. And also that like you can be older and realize these things. You can be like 50 and realize that you're asexual, you know. I also love that it has the aromantic side of it, because that I don't feel like is explored enough. I mean, asexuality is nowhere near explored enough, but aromanticism is just not even barely touched upon. So I'm so excited to read this, and everyone can be really proud of me that I finally have my first Alice Osman book. And the last book that I got is another non-fiction book, which is New York as a City and Its People in Our Time by Craig Taylor. For those that don't know, New York City is my favourite place on this planet. Every time I am there, it is harder and harder to leave. And this is a non-fiction book, obviously all about New York and different parts of it, and so excited to read it. I've already started reading a little bit of it, and I'm super excited to delve more into it. Oh, I almost forgot. Oh my god. Okay. So that wasn't the last book. I lied. I also got this. For those that don't know, I'm a huge Legend of Zelda fan. I've played the games ever since I was a kid. $12.99 each, and there's like 5 main ones. So I got this whole Legend of Zelda crate with them all in anyway. So they're the legendary edition ones, and they're all hardback. So we have 4 swords, the Minish Cap, Phantom Hourglass, Majora's Mask, A Link to the Past, Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages, and Ocarina of Time. I'm super excited to read them, and also they come in this funky little crate. And I ended up saving money on them actually for what they would have been altogether, as well as getting a funky crate that came with a poster. So brilliant scenes here with Zelda. I've got a little Zelda section on my graphic novel shelf. It's phenomenal. So yes, that was my birthday / bookshops are open again, and I shouldn't be trusted with a bank card. Book haul! I'd love to know if you guys have read any of these books. Which ones do you think are really good? Which ones shall I read soon? What's your favourite out of these? If you have read any of these, what would you recommend? Are there any books similar that you're like, if you are interested in that, you'll be interested in this? Because, I mean, God knows, I don't listen to myself when I tell myself to read my TBR first. I just buy more books. Like I said, if you guys are new here, then I make videos a couple of times a week about books and fandom things. So if you want to stick around and join us, feel free to hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell to make sure that you get those notifications, because YouTube is notoriously bad at not actually telling you when I've uploaded a video. And if you want to follow me on other social medias, all the links to that will be in the description down below, as well as the links to my Stranger Things podcast, because I have a Stranger Things podcast that I co-host with my friend Emily. It's called Hawkins Do You Copy, and we talk about all things Stranger Things. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you're doing really, 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 really well, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.